Oh, the first live. All right, let's do this. If you want to make 2025 your year, if you want to start taking action, if you want to stop living with any fears, this is how you do it, in the words of Montel Jordan. One of my favorite movies of all times is Transformers. And there's a line in one of the movies in which Optimus Prime says, "We can be the heroes of our own lives if we had the courage to try." Courage is what it takes for all of us to be able to live a fearless life. It is courage. Now, one of the greatest fears that I had that manifested in my younger years is the fear of failure. Around the age of like 11 to 12 years old, I was hyped about basketball. I was all into basketball. And I had the chance to play for a organized team when I was a part of the Boys and Girls Club. Now, me being part of the Boys and Girls Club, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm ready to show off my talents. I'm ready to show these people what my name is." We had an opportunity to, for me and all my peers, for us to sign up on the board to decide what teams we'll be on. Now, I got a chance to play for the Bulls, and I remember this game, my first game, like it was yesterday. I'm stepping into the Boys and Girls Club, and then I'm close to walking into the arena, and I hear the roars of the crowd, the chants from the crowd, the cheers from the cheerleaders. And I realized to myself, "Oh, I got a fear of failure. I don't want to fail in front of all these people because I didn't want the crowd to erupt in a way that I wasn't going to like." And so my heart is beating fast. Matter of fact, my heart is beating so fast and loud. It sounded like Dougie Fresh beatboxing. And I remember that game, I performed so terrible. I was so afraid to fail in life that I performed terrible. Everything that I wanted to avoid doing, I did it. I manifested because I put so much focus on it. I was airballing every game. I was missing free throws every game. I was missing layups every game. I was turning the ball over. I was fouling for no reason every game. I was just absolutely trash. And when it was time for me to start playing for a real team, when it was time for me to transition into middle school and try out for the middle school team, I was so beat up from that fear that I had lost my passion to even play basketball. I wasn't courageous enough to conquer that fear in that aspect. But around that same time, I was also doing public speaking. And that's how I was able to conquer the fear of failure, the failure that immobilized me from taking action. Around the time, like I said, around the time that I was playing basketball was also around the time that I was engaging in public speaking. I had just joined 4-H, and it was brought to my attention that not only that I could be a part of these summer activities as far as canoeing, kayaking, swimming, and archery, and all these other stuff that these kids were doing, I can also give speeches in public. So I told my mom about the club and what I had just seen and what they had introduced to me. And she wanted me to join the club for that aspect, not necessarily for the summer activities that I really wanted to join for, but for that aspect. And I was fighting. I was like, "Man, I don't know if I want to do this. This ain't me. This is not me at all." It really didn't make any sense for me to do this. That was my thought process at the time. But at one point, I just said to myself, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." I was definitely fearful. Yeah, I was definitely fearful. I was definitely scared. But I said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." And I remember it like it was yesterday. My first speech that I ever gave. It was absolutely the worst speech that anyone could ever give. I did everything possibly wrong. I didn't look at anybody. I spoke with a monotone voice. I I read from my cards the whole time. I stayed squared and boxed in. I mean, like it was trash. But you know what? Even though I did terrible, I felt empowered because I was courageous enough to conquer that fear, to challenge that fear. I didn't challenge it when it came time for me to challenge to try out for the middle school team in terms of basketball, but I challenged it by speaking, by forcing myself to be uncomfortable. So my question for you today is this: when are you going to be courageous? When are you going to allow yourself to be the hero of your own life and overcome whatever fear that is imprison you from taking action? I have to be honest. This is my first live. I don't know if I'm more nervous or excited because I still have a lot of introverted tendencies, but I've allowed myself to be courageous in the past, and I'm going to be courageous right now to force myself to be uncomfortable, to do what I want to do in order to create the results that I want out of life. And that's the mindset that you have to have. You have to overlook any fear that you have. Here's what I've learned about fears. A lot of the fears that we do have that we allow to immobilize us from taking action and living the life that we want to live and becoming the person that we want to become. Oftentimes, them fears, they're not going to hurt us. They're not going to put us in the hospital and they're not going to kill us. So, if those are the three worst possible outcomes that can happen to anyone at any point in life, but they won't happen if we decided to challenge our fears. What is there to be fearful of? Why not be courageous? Why not be the hero of your own life? You got it within you to be the hero of your own life. You just got to be courageous. You just got to force yourself to be uncomfortable, to get out of your comfort zone, to get out of your box. That's what it takes for you to be courageous and be the person who you've always envisioned of being. Courage is for some people, courage is a learned skill set. For some, is naturally for some people. For us, for people who at some point in life allow fear to immobilize us from living the life that we want to live, we have to learn to force ourselves to be uncomfortable, to take risks, to take action if we desire a certain life. I'm going to say one thing, and this will be probably the closing for this. What I've learned over the years is that the pain of fear hurts. But I'm going to tell you what hurts even more and lingers even longer. The pain of regret. You you want to know what feels so bad? Just living a life of just wishing that I would have taken action. Just wishing a life that I wish I would have done what I had a desire to do. Or I should have done this. Or my life would imagine looking back on your life and realizing, man, I should have did that. I should have took action. My life would be completely different if I wouldn't have allowed fear to immobilize me from living the life that I want and getting the results that I want. Whatever fear that you have the power to be the hero of your own life. And if you want to be the hero of your own life and conquer and overcome any fears that has immobilized you from taking action, you have to be courageous. There was a guy who once said that fear is a reaction. I'm butchering his quote. Fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. And it is time for you to make the decision to take action, to be courageous, to make 2025 your year. The success that you want is yours, but you got to go out there and get it.